I think a relationship with your doctor has everything to do with your recovery.
You've got to be comfortable with your doctor, and you've got to have confidence in your doctor.
I know with the doctor that I had initially, I had a very negative experience with him, and from the very beginning, there was just no way I would ever be able to feel good under this man's care.
You should always ask your doctor questions. No question is too silly to ask. Never leave a doctor with a question unanswered.
I said, just tell me, doctor, what you got to tell me. I'm a big girl. I can handle this. He said, I know. I just want to share some things with you. And it was very important for me to know the information because without him reassuring me, he was very reassuring, very, very down to earth. And he finally came out with the information and he told me what was going on. And I'm glad that I did talk to him and discuss it before I left the office.
I would definitely recommend to other people to have and say, I need to sit down with you. Have him sit down in a chair and answer some questions.
She sat me down, my husband went in with me, the two of us, and she explained everything fully. And then went over it again, and I'm sure she did it at least 3 times. She just not only was kind and compassionate, but she was also very professional and very confident, the type of person you'd want to do surgery on you.
Any problems with bone pain, shortness of breath, back pain, swelling in your arm?
No.
Any concerns anywhere?
I was very interested in having a second opinion because of the seriousness of the disease, and it was made so easy for me because my doctor strongly recommended it. So I didn't have to feel like I was sidestepping her to go to someone else.
When I moved and I met a younger doctor, and he was so concerned about how I felt, not about the cancer. He was concerned about how I felt about the treatment that he was offering, how it was going to affect my life, how I felt about it emotionally, how I felt about my future. It was overwhelming how much I wanted to tell him.
When you're going in to have surgery, I think probably the last thing on most people's mind is my family's going to be out there worrying. And I remember waiting to go into surgery, and she came in, and I said something about my husband's out there, and he's very nervous. Well, she went out and talked to him, held onto his hands, and talked to my daughter, and made them feel better. And I think that was, she treated the whole family, which I think was really, really important, because it wasn't just me dealing with cancer. You know, there were 3 people in this house that were dealing with it at the time.
From this experience, I learned that you're still a woman. Life still goes on. You can do the same things you did before. In fact, I'm doing more than I ever have.
I just didn't feel as feminine anymore. I just felt like a piece of me, if I have to have all that chemo, you lose your hair. That's not so. That is not so. There are a lot of women, especially friends that I know, that are living a very happy and normal life through even the chemo, the surgeries. Some have had both breasts removed, normal lives.
One of the things I learned is that I'm a much bigger baby than I thought. I always thought I was a very self-confident person that was in control of things. And when this happened and I didn't have the control, then I really started feeling like a baby, started feeling a lot of fears because of this.
We're stronger than we realize. The fear, and maybe an even better word is terror, that we feel when we're first diagnosed, and that we have to feel alone in the middle of the night, does subside. It does get better.
A very important thing that I would change is when I went in there for the first initial, if you want to call it consultation or meeting with the doctor, I would ask him, could you give me some materials to read? You know, I need to know more about my disease and the options that I might have. I would demand them.
I think at that time I felt very victimized. I felt like I didn't have any rights. I just had to do what they told me to do, and I follow that very well. Now I know that I'm not a victim, and that I have rights. And if I don't feel right about a doctor or his recommendations, that I have every right to go anywhere I want. And that's a real empowering feeling, especially when you're going through something like cancer, when it's out of your power.
We went to Disney World that next summer, and I looked at the tree of life there, and I remember saying, "Thank you, God, I'm here."
I'm just happy to be alive, and I'm happy to know that I'm okay. And life is good. It's just because you get a little setback now and then does not mean it's not good, and you have to look at the positive.
It doesn't help for you to sit around and feel sorry for yourself. And it's not going to help any emotionally and mentally. It just drains you.
The future to me is really just living in this moment and trying to make my today a better tomorrow, because truly you don't know what tomorrow's going to be.
It crosses all boundaries. Different ages, different ways of life, different social strata. It knows no bounds, and so we're sisters together in this.